Hi, welcome to Create a Life You Adore. What is in a life you adore? Is it fun, fulfillment, freedom? Is it an amazing night's sleep? Little bit of a tease. I have the amazing Bridgette Smith. Why am I thinking? I'm not sure about your surname. Anyway, I'll come to you in a minute. And Bridgette used to understand what it's like not to sleep, which guided her to actually serving people and specializing in this area. Bridgette, thank you so much for being here. It is Smith, Bridgette Smith. I just don't know why I had a panic, darling. I'm handing it over to you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Jerry. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Good. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So sleep is such, I used to be obsessed. It's something, I used to be obsessed with morning routines, and I also used to be obsessed with sleep. It used to be an area I specialized in, and I've circled back around to being really passionate about it because I've noticed that a lot of people recently, with what's been going on the last few years, have been suffering with really bad sleep, and it's torture when you can't sleep well. What was there a clincher? Was there something that really helped you create an amazing night's sleep? And also then what drove you to specialize in this area? I'm curious. Let us know.
Okay, so perhaps if I ask or answer your second question first. So what drove me to it? So it really kind of began with completing like a health coaching course. And so I became, about a year or so ago, a certified health coach, because I was really kind of interested in health from a preventative aspect. So it was like, you know, do what we can do to ensure that we kind of keep good health. And so, you know, part of that course was talking about sleep. But then I really, when I decided to kind of like start my own business, I decided to kind of go into sleep coaching because I lived with poor sleep for about 12 months. And it was absolutely horrendous, you know, and it made me kind of think that, you know, you can have a day where you don't eat very well and it doesn't matter too much, and you can have a day if you don't exercise, and that kind of doesn't matter too much either. But if you just even have one night where you haven't slept well, like the consequences of that can be really huge the next day. So I suppose, you know, having lived it and then having come through the other side, and now I get great sleep now every night. And honestly, the difference to my life is absolutely amazing.
Wow. I it's really funny actually, because I haven't had bad sleep in forever. However, a few weeks ago, I might have had like 5 to 7 days of horrendous sleep. And it's so funny. I thought, I'm a fake, you know, if I'm helping people sleep well and I'm having a horrendous sleep, what's going on? And I couldn't work out what it was. Anyway, it stopped, and I got to the other side of it and everything. But what I remember is when you awaken in the morning after an amazing night's sleep, that it's almost like being reborn, isn't it? That feeling of just bliss and gratitude. Do you have go on?
Yeah, I think it's I mean, one of the things actually that I used to do I'd wake up and I'd look up at the light on the ceiling. And if I kind of looked up and I could feel like my eyelids were kind of were quite heavy, then I knew that actually I hadn't slept very well, and the day was probably going to be quite tough.
Yeah.
And as I say, like, you know, I get great sleeps now every night, but I kind of still do that thing where I like look at the light, and, you know, now it's like I look at it and it's my eyes feel open and fresh and ready to get into the day.
Wow. Yeah, it is. It's a heavenly feeling. For people watching and listening that maybe have tried lots of things and they've given up, do you think there's any such thing as a lost cause or someone that can't create an amazing night's sleep?
No, absolutely not. But I can absolutely empathize and sympathize with people who have tried everything, because I was absolutely in that situation, and the money that I spent on different various sleep health products,
Wow.
at the health shop, at the chemist, then it was off to the doctor, and it was sleeping tablets. It was magnesium. Like I thought like I'd absolutely tried everything, and I really thought, Jerry, that I did think at one stage that I was never going to crack it. Like it really just did feel that this is my lot and this is what it was going to be like. And that was not, it was not a good place to be at all. But no, it absolutely is possible, but it's with the right, it's with the right kind of help, the right kind of techniques and tips that I've learned along the way. So no, it's really, there is always hope. It absolutely can be turned around 100%.
Yeah, that's really good to know. There you go, viewers and listeners. Is there, well, it's a bit of a weird question because I think the answer is no, but I'm still curious. So in your experience, do you find that there's one common denominator or one thing that, most people that you work with, you come across are doing, that when they realize, oh my God, that's really bad for my sleep, that it really helps them? Or maybe one or two or three?
I really think that probably one of the biggest ones is to do with stress, actually. And because you are not going to sleep well if you're going to bed feeling stressed. And really, it's very easy to also start overthinking sleep. And so almost like, and actually trying too hard.
Yeah.
And it's very, very easy to slip into that when you haven't been sleeping well, because you want nothing more on earth to actually get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the harder you try, then the less is going to happen. And the other thing that I've kind of come across, found quite interesting. So what actually happens, how kind of insomnia develops, is that we can kind of have like a predisposition, towards, like, we might somebody might kind of have less of a tolerance to stress, or kind of have higher levels of anxiety. So that is kind of going to contribute to some way, some degree, towards your sleep. So it's called the 3 Ps. So you start with that. So it is this predisposing factor. then what happens is that you then have a precipitating factor. So that is the onset of some stressful event that happens in your life. So that could be, you know, changing jobs, or a relationship breakup, or you know, I don't know, some health scare, or so. And I mean, we all experience that, you know, we all have kind of stress that kind of comes in and out of our lives, of course. So we have that, but then the other P is called this perpetuating factor. And it's then when we actually start to develop thoughts and emotions around, because when we get that stress, so we might kind of have a few nights where we don't sleep very well. But what's really important is that then after a short period, if we can get ourselves out of that and then get back sleeping again. But where the insomnia develops is that we start, as I say, start having these thoughts and behaviors, emotions around actually not sleeping. And I'll just share something with you, because it's what sort of thing that happened with me. So I did, like, I had some personal stress that happened in my life a few years ago, and so you know, I was worrying about it and kind of how I was going to kind of deal with the situation. And then so my sleep kind of really started to deteriorate. Then there was several Sunday nights in a row where I didn't sleep. And I don't know whether I think, well, it may have been that I knew that I had to go to work on the Monday, and then I kind of started worrying a little bit about that I wasn't getting enough sleep. And then it really developed into this thing that every Sunday night, I started thinking in my head, it's Sunday night, I'm not going to sleep. And actually, those thoughts were starting actually even when I woke up, like, or perhaps I didn't even really wake up. I think I was like kind of awake, you know, during the night. But yeah, I just started to develop this belief that, oh, here we go, Sunday night, you're not going to sleep. And it was really hard actually to break that. So that is really how kind of insomnia develops. We start to develop long, you know, kind of chronic insomnia, to develop these thoughts, very unhelpful thought patterns around sleep.
Yeah, like a habit. Yeah, and it is absolute torture when you're not sleeping well. You just don't know what to do with yourself, do you? So yeah, it's really important that you are here sharing this. So if someone is experiencing insomnia, or some nights just sleeping really badly, whether it's not being able to get off to sleep, or awakening, you know, early hours, worrying, or whatever, what do you have any tips or guidance for them, Bridgette?
Oh yes, I mean there's a number of kind of different things really that you can do. I may actually, if I kind of go back, so there's actually 3 kind of mechanisms towards sleep that work well for sleep, but actually also work against getting a good night's sleep. And the first one is to do with sleep pressure. So we actually need a buildup of sleep pressure in our brain to go to sleep. And so one of the ways that I found, that I kind of just kind of discovered it, I think, you know, for myself, is how I know that I'm ready to go to bed is I start yawning. And so the yawning tells me that I'm sleepy. And there's actually quite a difference between feeling sleepy and feeling tired. And so when we feel tired, we can kind of have like this kind of the tiredness kind of might come from, I don't know, say being in the garden all day or something like that. It's kind of that physical tiredness. But it's really about actually feeling sleepy. And so that's the cue for me that it's time to go to bed. And so when I start yawning, it's like, okay, so now I need to start preparing and head off to the bathroom and whatever. And the other thing that used to work for me is like I'd be in bed and I had kind of a system where if I yawned 5 times within 5 minutes, there really was really good sleep pressure then that I could turn out the light and, hit the pillow and I was out. So it is about having good sleep pressure to go to bed. The other one is to do with your circadian health, and that's really about when you go to bed and what time you wake up. And it's really important, if you can, to stick to that schedule every night of the week, actually, including weekends. So instead of kind of having a big sleep on the weekend, to keep it really consistent. And so it's also kind of knowing what your body clock is, and whether you're kind of like a morning person or an evening person. There is a quiz actually that you can take to see actually what it's called, your chronotype. And so you can do a quiz to see what that is. Would you like me to share that with you?
Do you mean if you're a morning person or a nighttime person?
Yeah, so it's like when is the best time? When is the best time, like, for your clock to say, okay, it's time to go to bed?
Oh my goodness.
When is actually the best time for your internal clock to say to wake up? So I know that my bedtime is between 10 and 11, and the time to wake up is between like 6 and 7. So I've developed kind of this really great go to bed, wake up kind of schedule where I don't have an alarm clock. I never use an alarm clock because I know my body knows and tells me when it is time to wake up. And so it's really important to try and kind of be consistent with your with that schedule. But I know it's really hard, I think, these days when so many other things do get in the way. Checking emails, and which is not good. Not good to be kind of doing at 10, 11 o'clock at night or whatever.
It's
And the other one really is to do with it's having a balanced arousal system. And it's really actually about what I've talked before about stress. And it's like a dial switch, a light dial switch. So, you turn it up for the brightness and you turn it right down to keep it low. And it's really important actually when you go to sleep that you that is turned right back. And I mean, there's a number of different things, Jerry, that you could do for that. One of the things is actually developing a really good pre-sleep and post-sleep routine.
Yeah.
And there's other things like a mindfulness is a great way to kind of get you back to kind of just and reducing kind of any stress. Writing down your worries before you go to bed and what your plan will be for those, say, the next day. There's a whole different stuff. I mean, it's important, like, say, when you wake up, getting some daylight within 10 to 30 minutes when you first wake up, because the light and darkness is the biggest thing to help regulate your circadian health.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, light and darkness.
Wow.
So you talk about the darkness, it's like you go to bed, it needs to be black. So if you're kind of trying to sleep with a whole lot of light coming in, then that's not going to help. But I suppose, you know, one of the really effective strategies is also what I call stimulus control. So it's really just, it's keeping your bed and your bedroom for sleep. That's it, really.
Or sleep, yeah, not an
Yeah.
office.
It's not an office. No, it shouldn't be an office. Shouldn't be somewhere where you know, have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or you know, whatever else.
Yeah.
It's really, if you just keep that association between
Yes.
this is bed and sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, there really is. There's a number of other different things that you know you can do, and there is, you know, there's lots of like there's sleep hygiene lists around everywhere. You go to the doctor, and there's like a, you know, a sleep hygiene list. I suppose, you know, what really kind of attracted me to coaching, like sleep coaching, is that, I mean, when I wasn't sleeping, it was like, here's a list, you know, here's some things for you to try. But it's actually, they're not individualized. So not everything is actually going to work for everybody. And I mean, that's where the kind of the coaching is so wonderful, because it's really, it's working with somebody on an individual basis and making these changes, but making them kind of fit, or helping them to fit into the person's lifestyle and, you know, other things that are going on. And of course, I mean, the accountability is such a big part of coaching. You know, and I think it's a really big part of helping to really cement in those really good sleep practices. Because
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking out that AM morning, evening, morning, night prototype quiz, because I shift between, sometimes I go through phases of awakening at 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm like, you know, rocking it, excited to get on with the day. And then other times where I'm not, or I'm working till, you know, 10, 11 or whatever at night. Do you think, like, is it quite normal to not be either a morning or a night person and to have different phases? Do you think?
Well, I tell you, so like there is a quiz, and actually, rather than kind of just saying like either a morning person or a night person, when you do this quiz, and it's on a website called, and it's the powerofwhenquiz.com. And so what you would come out with in that quiz is one of 4 animals. So you would come out either as a lion or a bear or a wolf or a dolphin. And so, yeah, you know, to really, like, sleep is the foundation to good health. There are so many aspects, you know, it's so important for our physical, for our physical health, for our mental health, so many different things. And so I would just kind of say is that if we can be consistent, and really it's about, I think, how to, you know, do we make sleep a priority? Is it a priority each and every night? Because we can suffer the effects of, say, you know, like health issues can arise through, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be chronically sleep deprived. This can just be acute. This is acute and chronic. So this is just a few nights. This doesn't have to kind of be like months of poor sleep. So I think it comes back to prioritizing sleep, because we know that when we get really good quality sleep, the rest of our body appreciates it. Our brain appreciates it. We are able to retain information better. It's good for our memory. It's good for so many things.
So many things, including creating a life we adore.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And it does make it easier. Like, we can achieve our other health goals if we've slept well. But if we're not sleeping well and we're trying to have lose weight or whatever, it's going to be a heck of a lot harder.
Oh, it's just a vicious circle. Who'd want to go to the gym or go for a run if you're not sleeping well? And then it's this, if you're not exercising, you're not going to sleep well. You're doing amazing work. Amazing work. My darling, you have a gift for everyone. It's a sleep assessment, I bet. I seem to remember. Tell us about that.
Yes. So what would happen? So normally, if anybody's kind of struggling with sleep, and so we can have just a free, well, it's a 30-minute discovery session, and that's, always free. And then from there, we can do a sleep assessment, which is usually at a cost, but as a free gift, where that would be free. And really, part of that assessment, Jerry, is just to determine too whether somebody may be there may be kind of some signs of a sleep disorder, like signs of maybe, say, sleep apnea. And so in that case, it would be maybe referring to a sleep physician, because I don't help with sleep disorders. It's more disordered sleeping. But it's really good to identify, actually, if it looks as though there is a presence of a sleep disorder, because if there is one, the sooner somebody gets onto that and gets that expert help that they need, the better for them, the better for their health.
Yeah. Any questions that you wish I'd asked you, which I didn't?
No, I think there's a lot to sleep, really. But I think that, well, I'm kind of hoping that I've given some good information for people out there, and I suppose really the big message is you've just got to hang on to the hope, because it can absolutely change. Just don't let it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to put up with it.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I do have one more question. I adore naps. I mean, oh my God, I love naps so much. And I in inverted commas, try and make them about 22 or so minutes. Because otherwise, that you reach that kind of groggy stage. Is there a different rule for someone with insomnia or bad sleep to someone who sleeps really well when it comes to napping?
Yeah, probably somebody who's experiencing sleep issues is probably not that advisable where they're kind of experiencing that, because when I talked about like that sleep pressure, so when you have a nap, that pressure drops away,
of course,
a little bit. So one of the really important things about having a nap is about the timing of it. So really, any naps kind of after 3 o'clock in the afternoon are not good. So if you can keep them kind of before, and if possible, kind of the same time, you know, if you can. Perhaps I don't always kind of subscribe to that, but definitely kind of before 3 o'clock, because you still need to then allow, by the time you've finished your nap, about 7 to 8 hours for that pressure to build up in your brain again, for that chemical, for you then to be able to go to sleep. And you're right, like the length of time, 30 minutes, or if it's not 30 minutes, go for 90 minutes. So it's getting
Oh,
yeah,
ooh,
because if you
yummy.
don't
I
like
get more minutes.
no, it's funny. Like I mean, I have a nap, and it's like no setting of the clock or the alarm or anything like that. And it's honestly, it's like 30 minutes on the dot. I'm done. That's it, and I'm up, and it's just what I need. But naps are really, really good for your health.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah, I love them. I'm going to stop using a timer. I might put a timer on if I've got an appointment or something, just in case I don't oversleep, because I'm not a fan of alarms at all. Oh my God. I still have, I just had a little panic / nightmare memory when I was a kid, and you know, you don't have to, but yeah, I had those horrible sounds waking me up in the morning. Oh my God, grim, grim, grim. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
like to tell my consciousness, okay, when I awaken at this time, feeling amazing. My morning routine starts the night before. Maeve, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I cannot see that anyone would continue to have sleep issues because you just shared from the heart, you shared from the head, so much wisdom and so much love. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time.
Oh, yeah, you're most welcome, Jerry. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good. And thank you all for joining us. Enjoy your sleep assessment, and I'll see you next time. Bye, beauties.